Howdy friends. So doing a quick update. Today is day 2, the end of day 2 for our build with getting the building, trying to get it up. I did a video yesterday, but I recorded in the vertical versus a horizontal, and turns out the app I use on my phone, when I do that and I try to combine videos, it cuts them all off into like a rectangle, and I lose a third of the recording screen, and a lot of what I said that I was pointing out doesn't completely make sense. So I'm going to cover that stuff, as well as where we're at the end of today. So we're making progress. We're not where we anticipated. Going into yesterday morning, we expected to have the majority of the framing up, and then today have the majority of the siding and roofing up, and be about 90 to 95% complete, and be able to wrap up on Monday. Yesterday, as our builder was putting up the vertical supports, these guys, the vertical supports, they got the other wall up, and then they got these walls up, and then as they're laying the horizontal beams, they realized this beam was short, and he was thinking, man, we didn't cut this short, so the dimension's right, so what's wrong? And it turns out with our lip right here that we have, the fellow that did the cement measured the right distance on that end, the 15 foot for the width of it, but on this end they measured it at 14 foot. So where you see this fresh concrete, that's where the lip had been. So it was off kilter from what the plan was. So that delayed construction quite a bit. They're able to continue working on that wall and this other wall, but had to wait until the concrete guy, was able to come out today to cut down this. He's supposed to fill in right here also, and then you'll see he also cut on that side. We have a 20-foot wide garage door that's going in, so and then there's this cutout for the door, so that was a little bit off. So I need to touch base with him and see what's going on, because this should have been filled in as well. So that was identified yesterday, and then today they got more of the horizontal beams up, got the windows framed out, got this one door installed down here, and they finished getting the roofing stuff up. Yesterday they'd only made it halfway across, so today they made it the rest of the way across, which is fantastic. So we're making progress. We're getting there. We're not quite there yet, depending on how weather is. Monday they should be able to finish the rest of the framing, and then begin putting up the siding. We have rain and wind and other stuff scheduled, so for the safety of the guys, they're not going to work on the roofing until or unless conditions are right, which absolutely support safety on the job site, safety for people. That's good. So I appreciate that. That's something that the lead for our build is doing right. But the siding, he said, should be able to be put up in a couple days. So we're looking at Thursday for being done, maybe Wednesday, but most probably Thursday. So that continues to put us behind what we're planning on, but we're thankful. We're making progress. So we got 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but that's still positive math. So we're making progress, so I'm thankful for that. The challenge that's presenting is that we need to have a lot of building materials for finishing out the interior whenever this is completed. But until it's completed, I don't have a place to store that stuff, to keep it dry, to keep it good for that. So a lot of the challenge here is the timing with it. And some of the places that we order stuff, we're able to order it, have it come in, and pick it up within 30 days of it coming in. So there's a few more orders we need to place, getting our electrical components ordered, getting some of that other stuff. So that's really good. Those pieces that are done are good, but there's a few more pieces I need to do just so that we're able to continue moving and we aren't delayed by waiting on product to come in. Another cool thing we had happen today, the on-site sewage facility, I think that's the right term, OSSF guy, septic, came out to do the inspection. As is much of the case in the hill country in central Texas, if you get a couple feet deep below soil, it's just shelf rock. It's a whole bunch of really big rock. In order to be able to have a traditional septic system, your soil content going down 4 or 5 feet needs to be 70% compared to the rock content being about 30%. So I was able to dig down about 2 feet. We had our tractor with a backhoe on it, and I dug 3 holes and got down to about 2 feet and then hit just what seemed like a shelf. I got the pickaxe out, picked away quite a bit, but man, I was making a dent, but just about only a dent. It wasn't getting anywhere down to that 4 or 5 foot test pit depth. So we got that figured out, that we're going to be doing an aerobic system. And actually I can show y'all a little bit of where that's going to be. So we have our building. I'm now back on the west side. That direction is north. So I'm on the west side of the building. And we plan on having a, whatchamacallit, a breezeway. And then whenever we build our house, it being kind of continuing down this line. You know, the outer wall on the next building will be right in line with this outer wall. So we have our sewage drop coming out right here, and then as we come back away from the house, we're going to try to have the aerobic system right around here. And with the aerobic system, that takes the water, separates the solids from the liquids, and turns the liquids essentially into a gray water. And then there's a couple of hoses that come out from that, buried underground, and pops up with sprinkler heads in a few spots where it then just waters the lawn essentially. This is going to be not quite our lawn, but you know, it's still there on our property, and we got some trees around in the area. We do have to make sure it's clear 10 feet around the sprinkler head. So I'll do a little bit more cutting with that, but that's not a problem. That's easy to do. Nice thing too, the inspector was telling me about the NEWater B550, which processes, well, has a flow of 600 gallons per day, which is more than what we need. So that's great, and has multiple points of connection. So very easy to tie in 1 or 2 lines later on if need be. Not having to dig up other lines, not worrying about some junction points and capping stuff off and worrying about stuff leaks or other jazz like that. Just makes it extra simple and extra easy. So that's pretty cool. Lots of good information. Really appreciated our inspector that came out. So that was really cool. So again, I'm thankful. I'm excited. Now, 2 steps forward, 1 step back is still going in the positive direction. And yeah, and a good lesson learned with this construction as I move forward to other stuff is trust but verify. I know we know that in the Army. That's something we talk about with leaders, checking up on subordinates and part of teaching, training, mentoring. And we don't want to, I don't want to come across as questioning the competence of different professionals, especially folks that are much sharper and more capable than me at other stuff. But we are all capable of making mistakes. And at the end of the day, this is also, you know, my property, my building, you know, for the short term, the house that we'll be living in. So on future jobs, remembering to come along and just double check different aspects of the work that I'm familiar with. Because just with this concrete pad, the plumbing for our washer drain was not roughed out, and I missed that our fellow that roughed all that stuff out hadn't done that. And then also this mistake with the pad as far as the shelf being a foot off on one end, and that delaying us, you know, functionally being done Monday to being done on Thursday, and the lost time there and everything else, that's really hit us. And part of the frustration with that too is if we're going to be functionally 90-95% done today, that would mean I'd have a place to store a lot of our building material. I'd have covered places or reasonably covered places to be able to put a whole lot of that. So that delays us functionally another week from having a place to put stuff so that we can really get going, getting things moving with that. So a little bit frustrating, but still, we're making progress. I'm thankful we're getting there. And as you can see, it's getting darker, so it's time for me to go home and get some food. So on that note, Lord bless y'all. Stay excellent, be well. Talk to y'all again soon. Adios.